Tom Swarbrick on LBC.
Friday, 10 to 6, Tom Swarbrick here on LBC means, ladies and gentlemen, one thing. We have thrown the whirling Catherine wheel of news into a bucket of water, and in the calm that follows, we can take a breath in the company of Simon Mark's American Week.
Tom, it is hard to believe that at this very moment, only last Friday, we were scrapping my beautifully crafted weekly epistle because President Trump was throwing his toys out of the pram.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're gambling with World War III.
Said the man who actually is gambling with World War III. I've come to the conclusion that watching that again is a bit like rewatching a Wes Anderson movie. With every showing, you understand just a little bit more. And it now seems even clearer than it did last week that President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were determined to drag President Volodymyr Zelensky through that 45-minute for TV mugging, partly because the president wanted to do Vladimir Putin's bidding, and also partly because the alternative would have been to engage in substantive, serious, nuanced diplomatic talks off camera with Ukraine's leader. And that kind of boring stuff is just not this American president's jam.
All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think, huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
The most shameful moment in the history of the modern American presidency, although stand by, there's bound to be another one along in a minute. 7 days on, we've witnessed another week in which US government policies were again fuelled by and infused with disinformation. Let's spool back to the president's Tuesday night speech to a joint session of Congress.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
President Trump, back on Capitol Hill for the first annual speech of his second term, secured a hero's welcome from Republicans as he made his way through throngs of them, reaching out just for a chance to touch him. The cameras caught images of stony-faced Democrats, including one, Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury of New Mexico, holding up a sign that read, "This is not normal," as the president walked past her. To which viewers could only wonder, if it's not normal, why was she even there? Surely not for the soaring rhetoric, because at 100 minutes, the longest ever speech made to a joint session of Congress, it was not exactly the Gettysburg Address.
We are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth.
An effort that is apparently jet-fueled by a determination to walk away from woke.
Wokeness is trouble. Wokeness is bad. It's gone. It's gone. And we feel so much better for it, don't we? Don't we feel better?
A presidency supercharged by the richest man in the world.
I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
And an administration determined to use Mr. Musk's new position as the most powerful unelected bureaucrat in the world to fire hundreds of thousands of unelected bureaucrats.
The days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
Maybe it just takes one to know one. As he droned on, Democrats, for whom the speech really served as a proof of life video, given how little the public has seen of them since January's inauguration, sat there holding up what looked like ping-pong bats, bearing messages like "Musk steals" and "That's a lie." Only one of them, Congressman Al Green of Texas, had the guts to launch a protest that got him thrown out of the chamber. Around 10 Democrats boycotted the event, sparing them from the ignominy of refusing to applaud, even when Trump introduced a 13-year-old boy suffering from terminal brain cancer and made him on the spot an honorary special agent in the US Secret Service. But while the president insisted on Tuesday night that his administration is only just getting started, other events this week suggested he might already be a bit of a busted flush.
Donald, even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau hours after Trump's trade war on Canada, Mexico and China began on Tuesday. And as he pointed out in Ottawa, the biggest problem he and the other targeted nations face is understanding what demands Trump has for settling the crisis. It is a standoff fueled by disinformation. Trump says Canada hasn't stopped fentanyl from reaching America. Yet US Customs has only uncovered 6 pounds of the synthetic opioid crossing the northern border. He says American banks aren't allowed to operate in Canada. Trudeau says that is also untrue.
American banks are alive and well and prospering in Canada. It's an example of not really being able to see what it is that he wants, because even the excuse that he's giving for these Paris tariffs today of fentanyl is completely bogus.
And the president has also lied to the American public about the tariffs. He says they will enrich the United States and won't lead to price increases in America.
This Dodge Ram truck, $80,000, instantly became $100,000.
Just hours after the trade war began, the Fox Business Channel was broadcasting from a truck dealership in Pennsylvania and encountering American fury over Trump's tariffs. David Kelleher is the owner of David Auto in the town of Glen Mills, scoffing at the president's suggestion that the trucks he sells must now be built in America instead.
We can't build a $4 billion plant overnight in the United States. This is pretty radical.
I hear you. There you go, Maria, where the rubber meets the road here.
All right, great. Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Maria, the presenter there, is Maria Bartiromo, a prominent supporter of President Trump's, and she definitely was not expecting to hear that message on her own programme's air. As you know, in the face of a stock market meltdown, Trump has intervened, pausing some of the tariffs he has introduced for at least another month. But you can delay them as much as you like. If the trade war is going ahead, the White House has to understand now that millions of Americans will soon see their retirement accounts wiped out and the cost of basic foodstuffs soaring. This is not a drill, it's real life. And the president's policies, domestic and foreign, are already being revealed by the naked lies that underpin them.
The only guy in town with a strategy is the President of the United States.
Vice President J.D. Vance trying to ride to the president's rescue in an appearance on Fox News this week that did not go entirely as planned. The man who helped orchestrate the Oval Office drubbing of Zelensky last Friday found himself this time insulting the UK and France.
If you want to actually ensure that Vladimir Putin does not invade Ukraine again, the very best security guarantee is to give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine. That is a way better security guarantee than 20,000 troops from some random country that hasn't fought a war in 30 or 40 years.
I don't know about you, but maybe he's just not that bright. Last night, the president was signing yet more executive orders in the Oval Office when his attention was drawn back to the crisis in Ukraine.
Ukraine wants to make a deal because I don't think they have a choice. I also think that Russia wants to make a deal because in a different way that only I know, they have no choice either.
What is the thing about Russia that only he knows? We have no idea. But he went on to attack NATO again, providing fresh evidence of his determination to cozy up to Putin, give the Kremlin whatever it wants, and insinuate that the UK and its other NATO allies in Europe are the untrustworthy ones.
If the United States was in trouble and we called them, we said, we got a problem. France, we got a problem. A couple of others I won't mention. Do you think they're going to come and protect us? They're supposed to. I'm not so sure.
It's so revealing, that answer, a window into the mind of a man who never really believes that you have to live up to the word of any agreement that you sign. Today, in what may be a corrective to his obvious sympathies for Russia, the president said he might, only might mind, impose some fresh sanctions on the Kremlin as Putin continues to pummel Ukraine. With opposition to Trump currently so muted, at least among the country's elected Democrats, and the press here increasingly craven to him, you have to look elsewhere to find a critique of his actions. And a compelling one is being presented by one of my favourite singer-songwriters. Listeners of a certain vintage may be fans of Suzanne Vega, the New York-based sensation who burst onto the scene in the 1980s with Marlena on the Wall and Luca, a ballad about child abuse. She's got a new album coming out and a new song on it all about the nation's current crisis.
All those full of wind and air who howl, rant and rave, screaming out distorted facts about the souls they save.
It's called Speaker's Corner, a song about the struggle to preserve America's democratic traditions that are now under assault as never before. A battle that may intensify as President Trump works to prove, Tom, that he's still got plenty of gas in the tank.
And it grieves me when I see people on parade, parroting the things they hear, never to be afraid.
From Washington, D.C., Simon Marks, American Week.